makes us happy, and then realizing that we're caught up in the tornado of trying, and then thinking, well, maybe if I stop trying for a minute and just exist, it'll be good. And then you pick yourself back up and you're like, shit, now I'm behind. And then you run twice as fast as you did before. And all this causes stress. But I think a big portion of how you manage stress is the way that you talk to yourself and the room that you give yourself to grow within stress. And also realizing that stress is a beautiful thing instead of like trying to hide it. Jesus fucking Christ. Sorry, that guy was like on my ass and then passed me on the left right as a biker was on my right. So we had to get way the fuck over. Some people's kids, you know. Anyway, our view of stress, right? We see it as like, okay, we want to suppress it. We want to hide it. We want to get over it. We want to get to the other side of stress. And we don't want to acknowledge it. And by having that feeling about stress, we're actually repressing the stress, which in turn just makes it come up bigger and badder, like all the time. Because that's what happens when we don't deal with our internal feelings, is they are still there and they're just growing. We're not talking with them or with ourselves and dealing with the problem. We're just putting a sheet over it and pretending like it doesn't exist. But the way to deal with a lot of things that we're facing internally is to try and have a caring sense about them. Like, bitch, you telling me to be caring about my stress? Like, yes I am. I'm asking you to talk to your stress and be like, well, hello there, darling. What might have brought you about on this evening? And when you start having those caring conversations with them, you'll start to realize, like, your stress isn't so bad. Like, your stress is on your side, right? Because your stress is all about you. Your stress is about your ambitions, your dreams, what you're trying to achieve. It's your motivation. It's your cheerleader, honestly. And if you're mean to your cheerleader, then you're being mean to that part of yourself that does motivate you. And this is where you get into like action paralysis. Like, you become so overwhelmed because you're treating your stress like shit. You're like, fuck you, like, I'm so busy all the time, I don't have time for this, like, and I don't want to deal with being stressed out. Like, go away stress. So then you sit down, you try and do some self-care, but you're not confronting that stress. So that stress is like, well, all right then, I'm not gonna cheer for you. I'm just gonna let you do what you're gonna do, and then you lose your motivation. I'm not saying like make it your best friend. You don't want stress to be so close to you that you're in a constant state of panic, because then you end up getting burnt out. But you're much less likely to get burnt out if you are carrying with your stress. If you're saying, okay, why am I stressed out? You're having real, like, deep conversations and intimate relationship with yourself in that manner. You're like, okay, why am I stressed out? Oh, I have all these fucking classes and I don't have a lot of money. Well, then just keep asking why. Just talk to it a little bit. Okay, why does that stress you out? Oh, because I'm afraid. And usually stress is coming from fear, which is healthy, right? We gotta have fear as people. Otherwise, like, what, you're not afraid of death, you're not afraid of losing the things that you have or the people around you or all that you have built in yourself. That's a scary thing, to lose the things that are dear to you. So have that fear as well. And it's just taking care to sit down with yourself and let your stress work with you. Make your stress work for you and work for your stress. Chances are that you have chosen the challenges that are stressing you out. And if you haven't, then you can find a way to negate your stress by choosing your healthy challenges. An example, okay, maybe you're overwhelmed with finals. Well, you chose that stress by taking those classes. And why did you choose to take those classes? Oh, you chose to take those classes because you want to be an X career and you need this knowledge. Well then, if that's going to be your future, then hopefully those subjects interest you. And if not, you can try and make them interesting to you. Like, get excited about what is stressing you out. Get excited about those tasks that you have to do. And then don't do them all at once. Like, this is the thing. Like, so much we get overwhelmed and we're like, okay, I'm going to do everything now so I don't have to worry about this stress. Again, you're suppressing that stress and not giving it the attention it really deserves. You got to give it attention and work with it. And that means you got to give your tasks your full attention. And that actually, there's like all kinds of tests, and it's proven that multitasking is not really productive, because as soon as you add a second task on top of the first task that you're doing, then your first task suffers as well as every other thing that you pile on top of it. And then you're not really investing anything except for running in a circle as fast as you can. And then you're going to have to come back to those problems anyway, because you're not crossing your T's and dotting your I's. So slow down, take the time to sit with your stress and be like, okay, what are we dealing with? Once you realize what you're dealing with, you can break it down into smaller steps and get excited about the little things. And if you're not choosing those things that you're stressed out about, your career, because these are the things that you choose, right? You choose your career, you choose your school, if you've got any of that, you choose like what you do with your free time. Things you don't choose, right, are the things that life has put on us: a death of somebody, or a disability, or a marginalism, or something that you don't have control of, that is outside yourself. That horse is halfway over the fence. Interesting. Okay. So if you can't change the things that are stressing you out, like you have no control over them, then what you want to do is you want to, and this sounds counterproductive, right? But I was listening to someone talk about this the other day. I can't remember exactly who it was. But you actually want to add more tasks that you can control, and smaller things. And this is helpful too if you have a very, very large, like daunting task that is stressing you out. I like to do the tasks that affect my space, so like cleaning. So it may sound like fucked up, but like if you're stressed out about a final exam in a specific class or a paper you haven't started, start first by accomplishing a goal that is easier, and that then gives you the motivation to be like, all right, I got this, like, look, I did that thing. And then if you choose a cleaning task, also you've cleaned up your space, so the area that you're going to be working in is going to be cleansed, so you can truly focus, and then you're not distracted by all these other fucking tasks that you haven't done. You can focus. And so you should be using your stress to create focus, not distraction. And then we think a lot of the times the way to create focus is to just, do it all at once. But no, you need to do one thing at a time. Again, one thing at a time. something, and then you'll feel so much better about that task that you accomplished that you'll then gain momentum and fuel to go on to the next thing, because you'll just have invested yourself truly in that first thing. So maybe I have gone home to my camper, and so let's say I have to write a final paper for psychology and I haven't even touched it. Maybe first I'm gonna make sure my dishes are done, my bed is made, and I have a clean space to study, and I'm gonna light some candles. And then you know what, I'm gonna be feeling pretty like in my body to do that, right? Which it's great to have breaks and be in your body, because if you stick up here in your mind and you're just like working on a paper, you're gonna get dizzy because you're not gonna be grounded, because you're not being physical, right? So you got to break up your task into physicalities, which is why another reason that cleaning is a great break and a great caveat into your bigger responsibilities. And you can just choose one thing. Like if you're overwhelmed, like you have too much of a mess, just choose one thing. Just make the bed. Or you can choose a series of small things. Make the bed, do the dishes, pick up the bathroom, or fold the clothes, put the clothes away, make the bed. Whatever those tasks are, once those are done, then you will feel more empowered to go ahead and begin your bigger tasks. And sometimes we have so many fucking tasks. You know what we actually need to do, instead of just diving in, is we need to take inventory of all the shit that we have to do. And we do have to prioritize, right? Because what I'm talking about is kind of ironic, because it's not prioritizing. It's like, right, your APA paper for psychology is more important than making your bed. However, making your bed is part of doing your APA paper because it's what's motivating you to do your APA paper. So you can segregate tasks, like the big tasks is what I'm saying. Like, don't put all your little shit on there, because your little shit's going to be part of your big shit. And just figure out, okay, like this big paper is going to be due first. So how do I create the mental space to deal with that? Instead of like, oh, I don't want to deal with that mental space, you're like, okay, how can I create a mental space where that's going to be comfortable for me, where that's going to even maybe be fun for me? How can I get excited about this task that is stressing me out? And you can forget about those other tasks for a little bit while you focus on this one. And that's where like the little bit of stress suppression comes in. Like, because you don't, like I said, you don't want your stress to be your best friend. You want to work with it. You want to create that space with it. You want to have fun with it. But you don't want to let it overrun your entire life. Just one task at a time. You can only be truly motivated to tackle one thing at a time. You can't be super excited about 4 things at once and be doing all 4 of them. I mean, you can, but it's not sustainable. So you want to sustain your stress. You want to work with it. You want to create space for it, but you don't want to let it jump all over you. I encourage you to invite your stress in for tea.